That's a hard one. Triple 11 is not easy to hit.
What do you want to say? Oh.
Actually, like 10 seconds of this. Look at the phone.
What's up, vlog?
Look at the phone. Look at the phone.
I don't know though.
Hey, what's up? It's Joe Peterson. So December is kind of really, in my memory, split into two. There's really just like the first half of the month where like school is ending and everything, and then the back half of December, which is obviously like the holidays and all of that. School, the last semester of school was fairly uneventful. I like, now that I have a semester under my belt, I feel like way more experienced as a teacher, like way more experienced. And I know that most teachers will tell you that you learn a lot in your first year, and they're not lying. You do. But I definitely feel just eons better from just having one semester under my belt. And I had like a year-long plan that I made at the beginning of the year when I had no clue what I was doing. So I spent some time this winter break going back over that and making some very needed adjustments. We didn't do any like holiday concert or anything like that with my students. With it being my first year, my first job, and so many other factors, I just was going to be really tough to start that up because they'd never really done anything like that before. Not impossible, but just chose not to. It wasn't very high on my priority list. But one of the first grade teachers actually ended up being like, no, we should do this thing with just the first graders. And so kind of reluctantly, I agreed to do that. But it was a really good decision because it was a ton of fun. The kids sang a few holiday songs for their parents. And when I go to start holiday concerts, things, traditions next year, it'll be so much easier because the students have already done it and they're prepared, and the parents kind of like expect it now, and the teachers will know, and the planning and all of that. So I'm glad that I did it. It was a ton of fun. And other than that, yeah, school was just school. It ended. I was getting near to the point where it would have been nice to have a break, and so that's what winter break is for. School ended on the 19th, and I drove back to Galesburg, my hometown, on the 20th. No, on the 19th. And because the 20th was a wedding of a good friend of mine from back when I was living in Galesburg at Knox, Caleb Oxley. He had his wedding. So I went to his wedding, and I got to see a lot of his friends and my friends there, and our friend group that we were in. So that was the first thing I did when I got home. And then because I'm a teacher and I get paid through winter break, and I don't have to work through winter break, and I didn't want to have to spend a bunch of grocery money up here, I resolved to kind of just like hang out at my parents' or in Galesburg for most of winter break. And honestly, for most of the time, at least at the start, I just like watched TV. I kind of lounged around the house and did nothing, which is really good. I needed that kind of mental and physical break because I had already been taking. Okay, we have to go back, and I hate that. Another thing that happened just in the last week of school is that I got a root canal on like that Monday before break, and that was fun. No, it was awful. Honestly, it wasn't that bad. I made sure they juiced me up with the, what is it called? Numbing agent. But I think my body just kind of had a big like immune system reaction or just negative reaction to that. So I kind of got like a little sick, and I was already planning on taking my yearly physical activity break during the holidays. So I was like, I'll just move it forward 1 week. So I took that week off, the last week of school, from physical activity, from working out. Took the time off when I got down to Galesburg. And so when I was at my parents' house, I really just kind of lounged around and watched TV and everything. And it's really necessary. You know, it's nice to have that kind of like mental and physical break, and just kind of relax and worry about nothing, and then, you know, get back to it at a later point in time. But then I had like 4 or 5 family gatherings that we had to like go around and do and bounce between. And I hadn't even seen all of my friends yet. So after all the family stuff, that took maybe a week. We I was trying to figure out how to see all these different friends and make sure it like felt meaningful and worthwhile. Um, and by the end of it, I was just so exhausted and like burnt out from like small talk and like catching up with people that those last 2 days I was in Galesburg, I was like, okay, I need to leave. I need to go home. I need to get back to my apartment. I need to get back to my own. I need to get back to what is now like my actual life. I just got really burnt out. But on like, in spite of that though, I can still be really like thankful that I got that opportunity to see almost all of my family, if not every single one of my family, and so many of my friends from back home in Galesburg. Typically as you age and get older, you're just not able to keep up and see everyone and meet face to face. That's a lot of the reason why I'm doing this vlog. But yeah, I'm super thankful for that, even if it was a little tiring. But looking forward to the future, not only just for myself but also for my family, we were starting to think about like what is next, because we're not always going to have 2 full weeks to fit every single planning into, and we're not always going to have 5 family Christmases. And so me and my siblings are starting to think about like what are we doing next in terms of family traditions. Our youngest sister, Carmen, the youngest of the bunch, she just turned 18. So we're all adults now. She turned 18 in December. So we're all adults now. And so I kind of sat down with my siblings and was like, listen, like, we're not going to be able to necessarily always afford or have the time to just figure out all these family gatherings on the fly when we come back to Galesburg. And so we're just kind of thinking about like what might next year look like and what traditions might we change. And same thing kind of goes for friends. Not that I have a lot of big traditions with friends over the holidays, but I kind of have to be willing to accept that at some point it's not going to be feasible to sit down and hang out with all my friends like I used to. And just kind of being willing to prioritize and say like, listen, I can face-to-face contact and keep in touch with certain people, and some people I just can't keep in touch with anymore, and that's life and just moving on. That's hard for me. That's really hard for me. I'm very nostalgic. I'm very people-centered person. I love my friends and all the people who've been in my life, and so it's really hard for me to. I think you even saw that. Like I said, like I got burnt out from just hanging out and small talking and catching up with people because it was so hard for me to just be like, I guess I can't see you this year. Like I wanted so badly to see everyone, but that was the holiday season, and then come home on Christmas. No, not Christmas Eve. On New Year's Eve, or a day before that, I came up back here because I had a tournament, a frisbee tournament on New Year's Eve, which is very essential, kind of kickstarting my athletics for the year 2026. And then I came back into town, and I was supposed to hang out with friends again in Kalamazoo, but the roads were just awful, and I felt really bad because I couldn't go out with them, and we were about to do what I've been trying to do for years, which is have an actual fun go out New Year's Eve hangout. I don't know how I've never been able to do that with friends before, but this is the first year I had that opportunity, and I couldn't do it with the group of people I wanted to at first. But I found something here in town. I kind of adjusted on the fly and ended up having a really, really fun New Year's Eve this year. And just solidifying the fact that, like, yeah, I should do this every single year with my friends. We should go out to a bar, like go to somebody's place and like have fun for New Year's Eve. And then that was the end of December. Obviously, I have a lot to talk about and film and put out and record and stuff, but I just wanted this video to be about December, the month of December. I'll have a vlog for New Year's specifically. I have a few Instagram things coming out for just other things that are on my mind. So just stay tuned.